really want to share this with you because I don't think
Mm-hmm.
this would have happened without you. But I had a situation where I was working with a really beautiful colleague of mine. I've worked with her for 15 years, and her daughter was on an e-scooter. She got
Mm-hmm.
knocked off her e-scooter by a car and thought she was absolutely fine. She got off the scooter. The guy said, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm fine." He's like, "You need an ambulance?" She's like, "Nope, I'm fine. I'm going to go home." She's 18. She's over. She lives, well, she lives in Europe with her father, but she's here for summer holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she got home and she rang her mum. And so her mum and I were working in the operating room together. She was upset because she had a graze on her chin.
Mm-hmm.
And she's beautiful. This beautiful 18-year-old Swedish girl, gorgeous. And she was really distressed. I said, if she's got a graze on her chin, was she wearing a helmet? She's like, no, I don't know. I should check. I said, maybe you should check. She's got a graze on her skin. She'll probably come in and we can x-ray her while she's, you know. And then I was like, no, don't worry. Like, don't worry about anything. And I was like, yeah. So I left it. I didn't say anything. And she goes, so I didn't say anything to the mum, but the mum said, I think I need to get my daughter x-ray, like, to make sure she's got she's got a big bruise, it's swelling and it's getting
Yeah.
worse. And I was like, yeah, bring her in and we can x-ray her, I'll put her in between the cases and we'll x-ray her. And I said, but I think, why don't you go home and sort it all out and I'll be fine. And then I got a phone call about an hour later saying, we have an emergency. It's an 18-year-old girl. We're stopping your operating list. So we are an orthopedic list, but we're stopping your list. You're the only list that can stop, that safely can stop because your next patient's not in the theatre.
Mm-hmm.
18-year-old girl, we're going to do burr holes. And I was like, burr holes? That's for brain injury, like for swelling and bleeding on the brain. And I was like, oh my God. And then I felt guilty, like, oh my God, that's. And next thing I know, I see the name come across the screen and it threw all of us. We were all just
Mm-hmm.
like, this is happening. It's our colleague's daughter. And it was horrific. She came in, we had to resus her. I've looked after a lot of people I know, but I've
Yeah.
never had to look after a colleague. And I said, I don't think I can do this. Like, I haven't done burr holes for 16 years. And like, I've not done burr holes. Like, so we got a neurosurgeon in to help us, but they were about 15 minutes away. And we knew we didn't have 15 minutes. So anyway, we operated on her. We stabilized her. I knew that mum was waiting for me in the corridor and my feet were covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my surgeon, you got to give me your boots. I'm not going out there and hugging my friend covered.
Yeah, and your child's blood.
I can't do it. And I was absolutely fine during the surgery. I was fine talking to the mum, and we transferred her to another hospital, a big tertiary hospital, because she was got to go to ICU.
Mm-hmm.
And all her mum kept saying to me was, I just want her, I can't wake up from this nightmare. I can't wake up from this nightmare. And I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I just could not sleep for 2 days thinking about my friend and her daughter. And so I did some of the remote healing, like a lot of it, actually. I did so much of the remote healing. And I got the most wonderful text message today. They've been trying to wake her up in little bits, but every time they would wake her up, her intracranial pressure would rise.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept saying to her, every day she's in a coma, her chances reduced down by 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And her muscle mass, she was losing a lot of muscle mass. And where the bleed was very unique and can cause quite a lot of damage. And they didn't know how much. And I said to Marlon, no, she's going to be absolutely fine. She's going to wake up. She's going to be absolutely fine, and, I said, I just know. She goes, how do you know? We don't know. And I was like, I just know. And I had that feeling of conviction that I had when I knew my sister was going to come in during the COVID time.
Yeah.
And
yeah, when you just decide.
When I just decided. And for the first attempt of waking her up, she was fighting her tube because she was uncomfortable. She could feel it, so she was responding. She could respond to her mum's pressure, touch, and to sound and to instruction. And they had to put her back to sleep. And mum was like, but she's still not able to wake up. She's still. And I said, no, I just know this is going to work, And so mum knows what I do. And she's like, just keep doing whatever you're doing. And I got the most beautiful message today saying that they would try to titrate her off the ventilator, and they said to her, "We're probably only gonna get her off for 2 minutes today, like, maybe just 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
hopefully she's completely off the ventilator." And alert, responding, completely, like, she sent me a video message of waving to me,
Amazing.
and the doctors are like, "We don't know how this happened because there's the swelling on her brain."
Oh, you're bringing
Like,
me
yeah,
tears.
yeah, the
Like,
swelling, I know, I'm hot thinking about it. The
yeah,
swelling on her brain was so significant that they had told Marlon, "You need to get your husband to come from overseas because
yeah.
we don't think she's gonna make it, and if she does, she's probably not going to have a good quality of life."
Hmm.
And when she sent us the images, we were all just like, "Oh my God, this swelling is just devastating." And then she sent me a photo of her most recent CT scan this morning. So literally, she rang me at 4 a.m. this morning. She sent me the CT scan at 5 a.m. Her swelling is like
Wow.
gone. There's no clot. This clot was, I mean, we drained a big hematoma, but there should
Yeah.
have been this massive clot. And I'm shaking because all I kept doing
Yeah.
was I just kept doing what you said. I kept doing, I mean, I literally would lay awake at night with you going through it with me. And I was just like, I just it's just the best thing I've ever experienced. And I had to share it with you because
That's
he was
amazing.
said to me, because I talk to her a lot, and she's one of my really dear friends, so she knows everything that's gone on. And she's like, "I don't know exactly what you've done." She goes, I just know that something changed, and I felt something change. Every time I spoke to you, you're the only one that made me feel like solid. And and I remember that was a feeling when I was doing the resus with her. But there was a time where I definitely dipped, and I was like I got really kind of a bit panicky
Yeah.
until I remembered, and then I remembered that feeling of this has to work because I
Because
remember
I
the
said
feeling
so.
of, yeah, I was like, this has to work because I'm terrified, I'm scared of failing, I'm going to fail the one person I want this to work for the most, like to treat the most. And then I switched that to this just has to work. That was it. But no attack. Like it was,
Yeah.
but you
That's
can't really
amazing.
fake. Now I realize how much I've sort of faked. Oh no, this is my decision, like,
Yeah.
but I did have to share it with you because the message I got this morning, and she's like, to see her sitting up, you have no idea. Like, and the doctors are saying we don't actually know. The brain is really we don't understand a lot. And I was like, no, I understand.
Yeah. Don't
Like,
worry.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. And then, yeah. So I just share that with you because I think you should know what you're teaching is so important. So important.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it was the best news I've received for such a long time when she sent me that and the video message of waving at me. Full motor function, coordination. She's gonna
That's amazing.
she's eating something, so she'll have to swallow. Like they'll worry about everything. So
That's so awesome. I love it.
yeah. So, and it's really funny because when I was journaling, a lot comes up about I don't really have anything to say that I've done that's like really that interesting. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm really hard on myself. And then sometimes something happens, I'm like, oh no, I'm really good at this.
Yeah, you should be writing these down because there is that
Yeah,
time, like your left analytical, three-dimensional side of your mind is going to come in and go, this is all coincidence.
yeah, yeah.
And when it does, I will pull out my book and I'm like, no, there's no way I manifested like 500 coincidences in 6 months. Like,
That's a good point, actually. That's really true. That's a good
yeah,
point. I should do that. Because I have
yeah,
that where I think to myself, I'd really like it if I could do that, but I just need to reschedule it. And then like I had a friend who's like, hey, I'm really sorry I can't do brunch on Sunday. Can we do dinner? And I was like, that actually works better for me. Like I should
yeah.
write a book of those little things as well.